So once Kundalini energy is awakened, she's like, no, this is not who you are. You are joy, you are bliss, you are infinite, you are unconditional love. And so she would take you on this roller coaster ride of an adventure in order to help you remember that and to come back home to that.
Welcome to the Divine Hangout. I'm your host, Hillary Jubilee. It is my intention that when you listen to this podcast, you experience an increase in peace, abundance, and divine miracles in your life experience. If you love all things spirituality, wellness, healing, manifestation, and miracles, you are in the exact right place at the exact right time. Let's enter the portal together. Welcome back to the Divine Hangout. It's Hillary, and today I am joined by the lovely Ella. Thank you so much for joining us, Ella.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me, Hillary. I'm so excited for a chat.
I'm so excited to talk to you about all things Kundalini energy. So let's first give a little bit of background though. How are you raised? Were you raised spiritual? What were your spiritual beliefs growing up, and what led you into this work?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I was raised kind of with an interesting background. So I'm Chinese. My parents have been Buddhist all their life, but more so Buddhist from like a habit, but not so much actually understanding what Buddhism really means. So growing up, I went to the temple, kind of knew a little bit about Buddhism, but never really went into it. And for the most part, I kind of grew up not knowing much about spirituality, feeling like I had to figure everything out myself. And it wasn't until I went through my own rock bottoms and hit multiple bumps that I found what I do today, and I found my own definition of faith.
Amazing. So what were those rock bottom, like, can you give an example of a rock bottom that transformed life for you?
Yeah, so I guess one of the first ones was where do I even begin? There's so many. One of my first ones, I think, was about age 19 when I was in university. I had everything going for me, 4.0 GPA. I had everything that I thought I should have in order to be happy, but I was miserable inside. I was depressed and constantly at war with myself. And that kind of led me to all kinds of odd illnesses and really needing to sit with myself and figure out what's going on. That kind of self-defeating behavior, the depression kind of continued onwards throughout my corporate job. And when I got into corporate, I ended up in the hospital. I had a full-blown panic attack one day. I was at home eating a salad. I will never forget. It was a shrimp salad. And all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. I was like, and so I had to get shipped away to the hospital. And at the hospital, they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. They're like, you should be fine. We don't know what's wrong with you. And there was a very clear moment where I kind of felt everything that was adding up since, my teenage years, since everything adding up. It was this moment where I heard this voice come in saying that if you don't change your life, you're not going to make it, and we need you to make it. So at that point, I was still very much hard on myself. I had everything that I thought I needed to be happy. I had the corporate job of my dreams. I was making good money. I was smart and loved on the outside, but inside broken, miserable. And yeah, it was really that moment where I realized I had to change my behaviors. Up until that point, I was drinking a lot of alcohol, was an alcoholic, addicted to all things bad for me. I could barely get out of bed usually on the weekends. I was just so, yeah, caught up in my own spirals. And it took that moment of getting to a point where the voice came in and said, if you don't change your life, you're not going to make it, and we need you to make it. That I was like, okay, something has got to be different.
So that shifted your perspective, and then what action did you take from there that made it different?
Yeah, so I think at that point it was pretty funny. Right after I got out of the hospital, I'm like, what do I do? Like back at that point, it wasn't even that long ago. That was in 2017, so about 5 years ago. I had no understanding of self-development and spirituality. I remember the first thing I did was I went on Amazon and I got myself a diffuser. I was like, I just need to be calm. I ordered myself like one of those plastic diffusers and got myself some eucalyptus oil. The first thing I did was like, must calm myself down. And yes, from that point, I started getting recommended all kinds of books on Amazon. I remember Gabby Bernstein was one of the first authors who showed up on my feed, then Rebecca Campbell. So I just started reading book after book. And something kind of awakened inside of me, especially when I read Light is the New Black by Rebecca Campbell. It was speaking about, follow what lights you up and you will light up the world, and, listen to your soul, and your soul's always whispering to you. I'm like, I have no idea what this means, but something kind of clicked inside of me. And that's when I started to form my own relationship with faith and spirituality. And it was really interesting, as I mentioned, because growing up, I had kind of like the Buddhism type of um, I guess like imagery and symbolism in my life, but I never really knew what it meant. And so after that incident, I also went to get myself a Buddha. I started sitting in front of a Buddha every single day, started meditating, started reading into Buddhism, and kind of got a start in spirituality from that perspective as well, kind of honoring what I knew growing up, but actually getting the backstory of it. And it was really funny because I'm like, oh, Buddhism stands for all these things, but my parents don't actually practice this, but we go to the temples. Like, what's going on? And it's been pretty cool the last couple of years, just even sorting out what spirituality really means for me and unraveling even some of the earlier things that I have learned and finding my own path through it all.
So you began like with books and meditation, and then what led you to Kundalini practices in general? Like what led you to that at the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, Kundalini is one of those things that she finds you. And if you're meant to work with her in this lifetime, she makes it very clear. So it was about, so as I mentioned, I was in the hospital in 2017. I spent the next year reading all the books, doing meditation, and finding my own form of spiritual practice. But still, it wasn't, I had moments of feeling better and then going back in, feeling better, going back in. And I remember it was the fall of 2018 when the word Kundalini just came into my awareness, and I kid you not, it followed me everywhere I went. I would be like on Instagram and all of a sudden see an ad about Kundalini. I was randomly invited to a dinner party one night, and I started talking to a woman, and she was like, "Oh, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher." I'm like, "Wait, what? Like, I've been hearing about this Kundalini thing. Like, what is Kundalini yoga?" She's like, "Oh, this is a studio that I teach at. You should come for a class." So I went for a class, and I remember the first time I went to a Kundalini yoga class, I just like bawled my eyes out. It was this feeling of coming home that I've never felt before. And at that point, as I mentioned, I was struggling with depression, with addiction, and it was the first time I felt just such a stark contrast to what I was feeling in my day to day. And it was something that beyond just my own silent meditation or beyond reading books could get me. It was like a direct experience of the infinite, as we call it in Kundalini yoga. And I just felt I followed that nudge. I was like, okay, I need to get more of this. I got myself a membership at the studio, kept on going back, and before long, I think like a couple of months later, I'm like, okay, they're doing a teacher training, so let me sign up. And I had no idea really what I was getting into, but the more I did the practices, and also I was doing some programs and stuff with Gabby Bernstein, and she kind of weaves in some Kundalini meditations here and there and the mantras. So I started practicing, and yeah, like it really kind of found me. And it's been really cool, I think, since then, how my journey with Kundalini has evolved. Because in the beginning, it was Kundalini yoga. So I spent the first couple of years really in that masculine practice of, okay, like huffing and puffing, doing my ego eradicator. How do I like force and like activate this energy? And then, halfway through, like 2 years later, got another huge wake up call when my Kundalini energy really opened up through a psychedelic plant medicine journey. And that's when I really got opened up into what we call the left hand path, the feminine path of working with Kundalini. And I got introduced to the path of surrender through that awakening experience. So, I mean, I could like, I'll let you kind of guide where you want me to talk about this, because I can just sit here and like talk about this for like days. And like, there's so many intricacies. But yeah, I guess to sum up your question, it's like Kundalini found me, and it was just something that again, I knew it in my soul. So the moment that I heard the word, like my human couldn't understand. Like back then I was what, like 21, 22 years old. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life, but all of a sudden I'm chasing this thing called Kundalini and trying to learn more about it. But now it makes sense. It's something that I've, I think, been soul contracted to come and remember and share in this lifetime.
What plant medicine was it with the plant medicine training?
Yeah, so it was actually a combination. It was psilocybin mushrooms and also some MDMA as well. So that MDMA isn't exactly plant medicine, but it is such a powerful psychedelic healing medicine that has opened my heart and truly hands down shown me what unconditional love is.
Amazing. Could you actually define for the audience what Kundalini energy is?
Yeah. It's I'm gonna do my best. I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to put into words, but Kundalini energy is essentially our infinite creative power. It's the life force that permeates all living things. It's the inexplicable, untouchable, but very present force that even made us to begin with, right? It's what allows sperm and egg to come together and boom, form a human being. It is the primordial life force. Now, Kundalini at its core and this creative power, this infinite capacity, it lies dormant at the base of our spine in every human being. And when we first came into this lifetime, our Kundalini was like free flowing. It was open. Like we knew that this is our true nature. Kundalini is also that connection reminding us that we are human in spirit. We are infinite and finite. But of course, as we go through the conditioning of becoming a human being, in this society, what happens is that we learn programming, we learn coding, we learn, oh, this is who I need to be. No, that's too much. No, that's not enough. And over time, the Kundalini just becomes dormant at the base of our spine. And when this energy is disconnected, when we don't know how to open and work with this energy, we are very much tempted to live as a version of ourselves that isn't actually true. We're very much tempted to believe that I'm just human, I'm just finite, I have to work in this third dimensional linear way. I'm separate from everything else and everyone else. I have ego, I have fear, I gotta use my mind to figure things out. And with the awakening of Kundalini energy, what this does is that it's a liberation of our true nature. Kundalini is like a spiritual fire. So once she awakens inside of us, she literally burns away, like crisp up everything that isn't us, that is not true, that isn't who you're meant to be. So all of a sudden, when your Kundalini gets awakened, it really shakes up your world, right? It gets you questioning, like, wait a minute, who am I? If I'm not my self-protection mechanisms, if I'm not my fear, if I'm not who my parents said I have to be, if I'm not who society said I have to be, then who am I really? And so, yeah, like Kundalini is this beautiful, I always see it as like your loving BFF. She's like your spiritual partner in divine who wants you to be liberated, who wants you to be your true self, who doesn't want you to hide behind facades and like all these different versions of yourself. And so when this energy is opened up, she begins to burn away all that is not us. She brings to the surface emotional densities, traumas that we have locked in, because a lot of our identities, who we have created ourselves to be unconsciously in our lives, a lot of them are trauma responses. We have experienced pain, hurt, like really real things that have taught our nervous system it's not safe for me to be me. And so we have closed that up and we repress it. So once Kundalini energy is awakened, she's like, no, this is not who you are. You are joy, you are bliss, you are infinite, you are unconditional love. And so she would take you on this roller coaster ride of an adventure in order to help you remember that and to come back home to that. So, yeah, that I guess in a nutshell is kind of what Kundalini is. It is our true nature. And so once you awaken it, also after sometimes most likely a very painful purging process, you start to live life in a more free and liberated way. You start to realize, like, beyond just that mind knowing, like, yeah, we are one, like, yeah, I'm connected. It's like, no, like, you actually feel it. You actually know that is a part of who you are. And this connection with the spirit world becomes something that is so embodied. It's not just like, oh, I read a few books and I know that, like, oh, the spiritual world exists. It's like, no, it is permeated and weaved into my day to day in very real ways. Like I've been working with this energy for now 5+ years, and it's pretty wild that you can talk to it, you can communicate with it, it guides you. It's a spiritual intelligence that is here to help you live your highest life. So yeah, that I guess is a little bit about Kundalini. And gosh, there's so much that I could say. It could be like a whole hour spiel that I go on and on about it.
So would you say that it's its own thing where you kind of have to be aware of it and awaken it intentionally, or would you say that it could just like I know you said it found you, but could you just have a spontaneous awakening, or is it different from like when you're on a spiritual path and you have these realizations or you're having kind of a spiritual awakening? Is that separate from Kundalini, or is that all like connected?
In my opinion, it's all connected. But every culture, every tradition calls it something different. So Kundalini comes from an Indian Vedic yogic tradition of understanding this energy. It's in the Hinduism that we call call it Kundalini. Kunda means to be coiled up like a serpent, right? So that's why Kundalini energy is often also known as like the serpent like energy, the serpent power. But across different cultures, people call it different things. Like in Taoism, that I'm diving deeper into now, it's called Qi, right? In Christianity, it's even likened sometimes to the Holy Spirit. So, or in ancient Egypt, they call it Sekhem. Each culture has their own way of understanding it. And at the core of any culture, any practice that talks about spiritual enlightenment, that talks about spiritual liberation, I really believe that we're all talking about the same primordial energy that gets activated and remembered and circulated through our body. But each culture just has a different name for it. So yeah, like when it comes to the spiritual awakening process, usually when we start to have this realization that, wait a minute, I'm not my finite human body. Wait a minute, I'm not my thoughts. I would say that's kind of like a precursor and like the beginning stages of having a Kundalini awakening. Kundalini awakenings usually speak more specifically to the energetic sensations that we'll feel, because a Kundalini awakening isn't just in the mind. Like, yes, there are aspects of your thinking that shift, but there's something really big that you can feel viscerally in your body, changes in energy movement or having this extra life force or having just like electricity and buzzing and different sensations in your body. So yeah, they're very much, similar. And even, all forms of yoga at the core, whether it's hatha yoga or ashtanga yoga, kundalini yoga, all kinds of yoga, I also believe at the core is about liberating kundalini energy, but it's just that they don't normally refer to that. So yeah, it's all linked together.
Did you have a one or several experiences of that energy moving through you? Like, can you explain or describe like what the symptoms were for you?
Yeah, for sure. So, when I first started practicing Kundalini yoga, I was a little bit disappointed because I'm like, here I am, like huffing and puffing every single day, showing up for these hour-long practices, and I'm like, I'm feeling nothing. And it was funny because around the summer of 2020, I was guided to do a 40-day practice specifically for opening the heart center. And it was after or like during that 40-day practice that, coupled with the plant medicine, I had a very huge energetic opening. And so I guess the first thing I want to say is that, sometimes we think that, okay, I need to have those physical sensations in order to know that Kundalini is happening in my life. But setting that foundation is also really important. So in my own journey, I spent over 2 years just doing Kriya practices without a lot of physical sensations per se. Like I would feel very good, but it wasn't like, ooh, something shooting up my spine. But I was actually creating the nervous system foundations in order for my body to hold the energy. So when I had that plant medicine ceremony, that was July of 2020, the best way that I can describe what it felt like was having sex with God. It was like intense. It was insane. Like it was really funny because before having the energy really open up, I was guided in that journey to do a lot of inner child healing. I started talking to my inner child, and it all kind of made sense for me in that moment because that Kriya that I've been doing for about 30 days at that point was all about opening the heart. When you open the heart, that's the domain of unconditional love and compassion. So a big part on my own journey to open that energy was actually to learn how to open myself to love and to feeling again. Because when that was not open, there was no way I could feel any sensations, right? Like I was so disconnected from my body from trauma and I couldn't love myself. I was very disconnected to my body and to feeling anything. So anyway, all that to say is that my Kundalini yoga practice kind of led me to that moment. The plant medicine assisted, and that initial opening was like the surge of energy up my spine, and it just felt like having sex with God. It was like this energetic orgasm for hours and hours, and shifting between like sweating so hard. I remember I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? Like I'm sweating buckets every single second, to all of a sudden freezing. So it's almost like you're having a fever. It's like this intense fever. So I would go between sweating a lot to being so cold that I'm shivering and I'm like wrapping myself up in multiple blankets and still feeling so cold. And that's what I realize now, is that the shift in temperature is a very signature symptom and quality to your Kundalini energy awakening. And I remember feeling surges of energy throughout my entire body, like so much energy. It's like when I put my hands together, the best way that I could remember it was that I had the entire cosmos running through my hands. So it was like when I put it together and I focus, it was like shroom. It's like whoa, like imagine like spirals and galaxies and everything just right in your hands. And it makes sense, right? Because we're all of the stars. Where it's all like a microcosm, the body being reflective of the macrocosm, which is the cosmos. So when my Kundalini energy opened up, it was like I felt that in that moment and I understood that. And it was really powerful because I had that download, like a voice, which I now know was divine mother consciousness, the divine feminine was speaking through me, and it was a voice saying that you're meant to share this with people. And I was like, what? Like, you have to understand, like back then I was still like pretty much like quite, I mean, I had done a lot of work already, but I was just like still very much healing through deep trauma. And I was like, wait, but how? And like my mind's super overactive. But since then, I found again that left-hand path of surrender. So in the coming months after that huge initial opening, I was guided to Kundalini transmission sessions. These Kundalini activation experiences, just like the ones that I facilitate myself today, and my energy just kept on opening up. And the movement, the sensations just kind of grew over time, which it's funny because I remember the first few times it happened, I was like, this is fucking wild. Like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? Now it's like an everyday thing. Now I'm just like, oh, like, it's just what I do, which is cool, but it's been like 3 years. So yeah, like, usually the symptoms, as you were asking, you feel energy moving, electricity, changes in temperature, um, and it just feels like you're one with the cosmos. Like that's a really big thing that happens. Other people I know, and actually, it also came up in that initial activation experience for me, is orgasmic feeling. So some people too, their initial Kundalini experiences can feel more sexual, can feel like I'm literally having an orgasm. But Kundalini can be experienced as a form of sexual energy, but it's not just that. So that's important to differentiate too, that like just because you didn't have something that feels orgasmic doesn't mean that your Kundalini energy wasn't open, right? Different people experience the energy differently. This is like infinite cosmic life force, as I mentioned. And so the way that it manifests from person to person from time to time also differs. In the initial, phases of my journey, the energy was more active. It was more violent in some sense. So my body would move a lot, but often in like jerking and shaking. And now I understand that was part of my nervous system's ability and intelligence recalibrating. So it started to shake off and alchemize and transmute the trauma that was living in my physical body and my energetic body. So the initial Kundalini movements were quite violent and intense to help me recalibrate. And now it's more like flowy and dancey and like open. So yeah, that's also something that shifts with time.
You mentioned sexual energy. So is it separate from sexual energy transmutation? Like, is that a whole separate thing? Or are they similar?
How would you define sexual energy transmutation?
So, the book Think and Grow Rich, he talks about that, and he doesn't go into too much detail, but he talks about like channeling your sexual energy into, you can creatively use that creative energy towards your business or your goals rather than just wasting it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely linked. So for myself, I haven't, because again, Kundalini is such a big, it's a big topic and it can be approached in different facets in different ways. As I mentioned, from my background, I came from the traditional right hand path, which is yoga, discipline, meditation. And then my feminine path is more about surrender, letting go, and using a frequency of energy to activate it for people. There's also the tantric path that is activating Kundalini through sexual alchemy. So it's definitely a part of it. I personally have not dove too much into that branch yet. It is something that I've been curious and kind of looking more into. It is related, but again, it's like one piece of the puzzle, I would say. So working with your sexual energy, because Kundalini is that creative nature. Part of our creative nature is the sexual energy. It is what literally creates new human beings. And also, it is part of our energy that can bring our other artistic creations to life or other career creations to life. And so, yeah, I think it is related. But different schools will have different ways of explaining that connection and also different practices as to how to harness Kundalini in that way.
So I know you did a training in Hawaii recently, and I'm wondering if there's anything
Yay!
in that experience that you want to share that was cool or amazing. transformation.
Oh gosh, so many. Where do I even begin? Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like to give a little bit of context, the retreat, the experience that I facilitated in Hawaii, I did kind of like two events. The first one were just three mini Kundalini activation journeys that I facilitated. The second one was a week-long Kundalini codes facilitator training in which I led three clients to become a facilitator of this work that I do. And God, there are so many incredible things that happened in that experience. We're all like, this is hands down the most life-changing week of our lives. It's hard to even put it into words. But yeah, there are a few things that kind of came up for me. The first thing I think is just really being in such deep awe and gratitude and like marvel at the power of this spiritual intelligence. Because I think sometimes, even when we get on the spiritual path, especially when you start to work with this form of energy and do and facilitate very powerful work, the ego can still tend to kick in sometimes, right? It's like, oh, yeah, like I did that. Oh, yeah, I'm the one who activated this person, or like I'm the one who made this happen. But like, that's not the truth at all. It's like, you gotta chuck that ego out because the truth is like what we experience in that 7 days together, like we had people transmuting years of grief in minutes. Like imagine 7 years of grief that you've carried with you, transmute it within 15, 20 minutes. Like all of these incredible transformations that we witnessed wasn't because of me. It was because of a divine grace that has come into this field that was facilitated, yeah, sure, through the space that I created, but in co-creation with everyone. So I think that was like a really powerful thing to witness firsthand, is not just like this hierarchical way of understanding spirituality or even Kundalini that we have been used to in the previous paradigm. This like there's a guru, there are disciples, but it's like, no, this is, we're all the same and we're here co-creating. We're all here holding space for each other. Although I'm a space holder, although I might be a facilitator of a training, I'm not the one doing anything ever to anyone. Right? I'm working as a vessel for this energy to move through me, and at the same time, we are all co-creating with each other. There's collaboration happening. So that was a really cool observation, and again, just very humbling and just in awe and marvel, as I mentioned, as to like how this intelligence works. Right? Like I can't sit there and plan on day three so and so is going to release 7 years of grief in 30 minutes. Like I nobody planned that, but it was just like setting the intention of bringing people together, creating the safe space. Like the safe space is also so huge, and each person coming also being willing to surrender, also being open to receive and to move through whatever they're guided to. So that was a really huge realization. And I think the other thing too is kind of related to that is like how simple change can also be. I think sometimes, especially in the spiritual space, um, there's been a lot of overcomplication as to the simplicity of what this work is really about. Sure, this work isn't always easy when you're navigating through huge transmutations, working with traumas and things that have been locked down for years. But at the core, what I really witnessed in this retreat is that the simplest way of helping someone heal isn't to be an expert, isn't to teach something that, oh, they don't know, isn't to like position yourself as a smart person, but it's literally dropping into your heart, genuinely caring about a human being in front of you, holding a space of unconditional love, and being willing to create or co create a space of safety together. When people feel safe, when people feel loved, when people feel seen and heard, magic happens like this, without fancy step by steps, without pages and pages of books. It's just a genuine heart to heart connection of like, I care about you, right? Like, and let's be open to what can happen in this moment. And that's where the beautiful transformations happen. So that was also really huge. And yeah, like those are the two main things that are coming to mind for me right now, but there are so many, like I have pages and pages of reflections from this experience.
I was watching some of your YouTube videos, and you were talking about manifestation codes, and you mentioned that one of your number one favorite manifestation was nothing outside of you. It was your relationship to self, and you used this and like the levels of healing that you had gone through up to that point, and you used this analogy, or you said this phrase, and you said like you said four walls and a cat, and it really resonated with me because it just like it activated something within me because I also have cats, and just it activated something within me because the amount of time I spend alone right now would have like been so
Yeah.
crippling to me previous. Like I would have been lonely and in despair, and now just the amount of healing that I've done, it just like four walls and two cats, and I'm like happy as can be. So
Yes.
yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
I
would you
love
say that
that.
that still rings true? Like transforming your relationship to self is like the number one manifestation.
1,000%. And I want to add to that because I think what I've kind of realized and, like why that is so important is that it goes way beyond the self. So I think sometimes too, in the self-development space, right? We think about, okay, like I want to be better. It's about me, like changing my life, changing this. And yes, that is important. But why I think healing our relationship with ourselves and activating unconditional love with ourselves is so important is because as the self, we are at the core in connection to all the other relationships we have. When we learn how to have this unconditional, loving relationship with ourselves, we change our relationship with our friends. We change our relationship with our family. Like over the past year, I've had huge family healings, like things that I would have never imagined to be possible in my lifetime to experience with my parents happen, right? Because I, as a being, transformed who I was to myself. When I was still very hard and critical on myself, I couldn't sit there and be like, yeah, let me hold space for you to cry, mom. Let me hold space for you to feel your emotions, dad. Like that would not have been possible, right? And so it extends back into our friends, our family, our partner, our community, our relationship with the planet, right? All of these things, like one thing I realized that I was thinking about, right? It's like we know that there are so many issues in this world. We know that there are environmental issues. We know that there are humanitarian issues. We know that there are many real issues happening in this world. But why is it that we're so focused on ourselves? For the most part, it's because a lot of us who think like, no, I'm just working on myself, it's because we don't actually know how to have that unconditional loving relationship with ourselves because we're still in a fight or flight. And this society is designed to keep us in our fight or flight. And so manifesting this unconditionally loving, empowering relationship with yourself, yes, it's going to change your life entirely, but it actually goes way beyond that. Because what then happens is that when you feel whole and full within, you can actually have the space and the desire and the love to support your community, to support your friends, to support your family, to support the planet, to support people around you, to support the causes that you care about. But if we can't even have this solid and loving relationship with ourselves, all of our time and life force is actually spent fighting ourselves. It's spent making ourselves wrong. It's spent shaming ourselves. It's spent finger pointing and spiraling into the past. And so, yeah, like I still think it's the greatest manifestation. And I think now I just have an even greater perspective as to how important it is and like how it actually ripples out into the world.
How would you like? What would you tell somebody who is in a space of focus on the past, or they're in despair, or they're in some sort of karmic addiction, or in a negative space? Like, what would you tell somebody in that space to kind of break out?
Yeah, so I would actually say that the focus would not be to break out or to try to change what they are currently experiencing. I would say the most important thing is can you take a deep breath in first? Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, feel your feet grounded on this planet, feel your beating heart, and know that no matter what you're feeling right now, everything that you're feeling, the despair, the spiraling, the hopelessness, it is all so valid. And at the same time, can you also recognize that you are alive, safe, and okay in this moment? That is the first thing I would say. Because what happens when we're going through a lot of, what we call like negative spirals or dark moments, the habitual pattern, and again, it makes sense. The nervous system wants to protect us. It thinks that I need to get out of this. But in trying to quickly get out of it, we're actually not allowing ourselves to develop the power to accept and be with what is present. And that is actually where true healing happens. So when someone is going through something really challenging, like as I have in my life, especially the last couple of years, taking in that breath, allowing yourself to feel and be present with what you're experiencing and knowing that you're not okay and it's okay that you're not okay is really fucking liberating, right? Because it's not like, oh shit, like I'm not okay. I need to get out. I need to be high vibe, right? That's one of the consciousness traps of new age spirituality and self-development. The whole like you got to be positive, but no, true healing happens when you actually allow yourself to be present with what is true for you. Even if that truth is anger, it's pain, it's frustration, it's despair, it's hopelessness. Can you take a breath? Can you honor what you're feeling? Can you honor what is present? And give yourself that space to be okay with not being okay. Because through being okay with not being okay is how you find acceptance for what is. When you find acceptance for what is, you can embrace what is present. And when there is no resistance to what is happening to you, that is actually where there is an opening to change. When we're like, no, like I gotta fight this, I need to get out of this, then it's actually much more challenging to actually be able to truly move through those emotions or those challenges. Another thing that I would say too is that, if you knew that you're going to tell a story about this phase of your journey at a future time, a future point in time, how would you want to tell that story? Right? What are the lessons that you want to be able to teach someone another day based on what you're living through? That helped me a lot on my journey when I was going through heartbreak and pain and loneliness. Like I said, the four walls and my cat, it's like, oh my gosh, right? It's like all of those moments. Back then I kept on asking myself, okay, can I be present? Can I honor that I don't feel happy? I don't feel okay. I feel all this pain, but I'm good. I'm alive. It's okay for me not to be okay. And also, what is the story that I want to tell about this phase of my life? Right? When I get on a live video and I get on a stage in the future, what is the story that I want to share? Who is the person that I have become as a result of this? And this is really empowering because it gives us, as the person going through it, that reminder that we might not be able to control the circumstances, but we can control what we make of it, right? We can control who we are in relationship with what is present. And that is what ultimately changes the experience of our reality.
That's a perfect segue into my next question. So, do you have, like, if you're trying to manifest something, do you have a process or is it like more about embodiment?
Yes. Like no, just I love the fact that you brought in embodiment. I'm like, yes, that is what it is because there's no process. There's no and I laugh because like for so long I used to think about manifestation as like this formula, this like perfect thing, like okay, step one, step two, step three. But the truth is it's so simple. Like it's as simple as like what I just shared, coming back into your own body, being present with what is in this moment, learning to be okay with whatever is present, that is a foundation to manifestation. Because if you're trying to manifest things to get out of your uncomfortable emotions, to get out of your pain, to get out of your current discomfort, you are in resistance and you're trying to create from ego to satisfy yourself. And that's actually not sustainable. So I think manifestation at the core of it, what I found to be so life changing goes back to what we are saying about earlier is that when you learn to develop this unconditionally loving relationship to yourself, that is the secret key to manifesting anything that you want in a matter of time, right? Because this unconditional love for yourself means that number one, you will give yourself and you will decide and declare what you want. That is an unconditionally loving thing for yourself, is you're not going to play small. You're not going to be like, oh, maybe that one happens. Maybe I shouldn't ask for it. Maybe I shouldn't do it because what if I get hurt? Your unconditionally loving self would say, this is what I want. And if this is what I want, then I don't care when it happens. I am devoted to it. That's what someone who unconditionally loves themselves would do. When you have unconditional love for yourself, it also means that when things don't happen as quickly as you think it should, which is often the biggest thing that comes up in manifestation, is like, well, I journaled and it should be here May 1st, 2023, but it's May 2nd and it's not here. So what now? Right? When you unconditionally love yourself, you'll be like, it's okay. I got your back. It's okay. Like, feel your disappointment, feel your sadness, but we want this thing. So what else can we try? How else can we hold the faith? How else can we hold the surrender? That's what unconditional love to self will give you. So literally, when we can just find compassion for ourselves or humanity, when we can just soften into whatever we have, right? Honoring our feelings, honoring what is present, even if it might not be ideal, but deciding that I'm going to find safety, I'm going to find peace here, that is your gateway to manifesting all the things that you want. And I think a huge part of manifestation is relinquishing our human timelines, our limited human perception on what is right, our limited human perception on this is the time in which it should happen. Because there's so many things, and this is what I learned now in hindsight. There's so many things that when I was 20 or 21, I'm like, I want to have 1 million YouTube subscribers. I want to have all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough because it didn't happen by December 31st. Like, thank God I wasn't given those things. I was not ready. Still, I'm like, I am not ready to have 1 million people watching me. Like, no, thank you. So we're all here to go on a journey, right? And so much about manifestation, again, from this capitalistic mindset, we think it's about more, more now, fast. But that's not true manifestation. True manifestation is I desire this thing because my soul yearns to experience it in this lifetime, and I will become the person. I will heal through. I will learn whatever needs to be learned, and I will move through whatever needs to happen in order for me to become a match for it. Whether that's in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 6 years, it's like I'm devoted to it. And the outcome is not in what I receive physically, but the outcome is in who I become. It's in what I learn. It's in how I evolve and grow as a soul. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. I went on a very passionate rant.
How do you think like we can tell between if we're trying to manifest something from ego or from our soul? Like how do you think people can discern that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I think one of the easiest ways to first tap into it is asking yourself, why do I want this? As simple as that, right? It's like, oh, I want to make $10,000 in a month. Why do I want it? Oh, so that then I can post about it on Instagram and then people will like me. Ta-da! That's probably an ego thing. I'm saying that because like that was me for so long in the last couple of years, right? Like I want to have these results. So the first thing is understanding the why behind it. What is the intention? And it can literally be as simple as like, okay, like what do I actually think this desire is going to bring for me? And unpacking it further, I think what's really fascinating is that at the core of many of our desires, what we usually want to feel is peace, love, and joy. Some version of it, right? And we think that the money is going to get that for us. We think that the validation is going to get that for us. So it's actually really cool because when you look at that and you actually look at the underlying emotion, what is the experience that you want to have? And you actually look at that emotional experience and you ask yourself, how can I allow myself to tap more into this now? You're probably then steering yourself more into the soul path, right? Because the soul path is about the being, it's about the feeling, it's about the experience. The ego is usually, I want to have this tangible thing. I want to have this material thing that can quantify, right? And I want to reiterate that ego is not bad, soul is not good. Ego is not wrong, soul is not right. There is no right, wrong, good, bad. But there is, like you said, the word discernment, which is important. And discernment comes back to then checking back with yourself. Is this truly what I want? And I think what was very liberating for me on my journey is realizing that we can't mess this up because it was in me chasing my ego desires that I was really, slapped left and right by life and like put on this journey to heal and learn. And if I didn't go after my ego desires of like, I want people to like me, I want to have this visibility, I would not have learned the skills of speaking. I would not have learned the skills of how to create content, how to articulate myself, because I wouldn't have even started. So it was actually my egoic desire of, I want to be famous and like be known for all these things that actually kickstarted me onto this journey. And so the beautiful thing about desire is realizing that you get to change your mind at any point. You can say in this moment, like, hey, I desire this thing. And then 30 seconds later, be like, never mind, I changed my mind. I actually want this instead. So when we see desire not as this right, wrong, black, white, I got to make this decision once and this has got to be the thing, but it's something that is constantly evolving as your level of consciousness evolves, then it's liberating. You can't get it wrong. You can't mess it up, right? Like even now, sometimes I'm like, oh, I want this thing. And then I check in with myself. I was like, oh, it's probably like, something for me to sit with there. Like, why do I truly want it? And it's fine. It's this continuous process of self-inquiry and getting to know yourself. So there is no right or wrong. And not to say like ego desires are bad, right? Like I still want to make a lot of money doing what I do. I still want to be a wealthy, well taken care of person, and that's not wrong. So again, separating the right, wrong, good, bad, but discernment, understanding the why, and using your heart to feel, right? Asking your heart, what do you actually think about this desire? and not just asking the mind.
So when we talk about embodiment and unconditionally loving yourself as the number one way to manifest your desires, do typical practices like scripting or affirmations have a place still in that, in your opinion?
I think so. Yes, I definitely think so. But I think it's about becoming aware and discerning of what is the energy that you are scripting in, that you are journaling in. Is it the manic manifesting energy, as Gabby Bernstein calls it, I think? It's like, I gotta like make sure I get this right. Oh my gosh, dear universe, please give me what I want. So this is the thing about embodied manifestation is that it's less about what you're doing, but more about who you are as you're doing it. It's less about doing all the things, but more about being aware of how you are feeling and how do you shift how you're feeling a little bit more at a time. So one really important thing that I would recommend everyone listening and watching to check in with and just kind of become aware of is what is the state of your being when you're doing something. And I mean, I could go into so many details, but I'm going to teach and explain a very simple concept. And this is part of the polyvagal theory. This is like a nervous system theory thing. So, our nervous system has, we've heard of the sympathetic nervous system response, which is the fight or flight, right? We've also heard of the parasympathetic response, which is like rest and digest. I'm chill, I'm calm. But there are some subtleties in some other zones. So, this is a model that was brought forth that says that there are three main zones in which our nervous system operates in. There is a red, which is the kind of like the freeze, but more like the shutdown, right? Like the, I'm lethargic. I don't want to do anything. I want to dissociate. I want to escape. There's the yellow, which is like fight or flight. I need this to happen. Oh my gosh, like this is going to work out. Otherwise, I'm not going to be okay. And then there's the green, which is like, I'm calm. I'm good. I'm accepting of what is here. I am present and I desire to have more. So this is really cool. And this is called a traffic system because you can think of it as literally just the traffic lights that you see at an intersection, right? So in every moment, especially as you're scripting and journaling and doing your affirmations, just take a moment to check in. Notice your heart. Notice your body. Are you like journaling, but you're tense and you're like, I need to write out this thing because it has to happen. Otherwise, I'm not going to be okay. Because if that is the space that you're journaling from, then you're probably operating from the yellow zone, as we call it. You're operating from a sympathetic nervous system response. Not to say that that won't work, right? Not to say that your scripting won't work, but chances are you're spending a lot of your energy there trying to force something. So usually if that's the zone that you're in, my recommendation would not be go journal more or like write out more affirmations or script even harder. My recommendation would probably be to check in with yourself and be like, what can you give to yourself in this moment that will actually soothe and relax you? What can you give to yourself in this moment that will allow you to feel safe and okay where you're at? This might be doing some breathing practices. This might be going outside and just getting some fresh air and taking a walk. I think that part is really important. Scripting and visioning practices are really great to do when we're more so in a soothed and relaxed nervous system state, when you can actually be in the genuine heart and open mind kind of space to create and dream. If we are in a stress, tense, yellow zone, as we call the sympathetic response, then it's hard to actually genuinely create from your truth in that space because usually the primary concern of your body in that moment is survival. And so whatever you're asking for or journaling about is probably the stuff that you think you need in order to be safe. So hopefully that answers your question. I think there is, like definitely space for that. Like I still do that sometimes, but I think it's also important that, we don't feel like we have to do it. Right? I think manifestation has also been something that has been so turn into this linear structured formula thing that we feel like, oh crap, if I don't write out my desires every single day, it's not going to happen. But literally, if you just decided on it and you feel it in your body and you have decided it in your soul, like this is what I want to happen, that's good. Like that's chill. You don't have to write it every single day. Like the intention of journaling and writing and all these things is just so that this desire can be amplified in its feeling in your body. Right? So if writing it makes you feel good, makes you feel more connected to it, then by all means do it. But if forcing yourself to write it every single day just because you think that this is something that you have to do, or it feels like a chore that you have to check off, then maybe just check in with yourself. Maybe what you need, like I said, is just a walk outside, or a fresh breath in and a fresh breath out. And that's actually what's going to get you more connected to your desire.
And would you say that surrender is a really important part of that process as well?
100%. Yeah, I think surrender is one of those words that like we hear so much. It's like, yes, just surrender. But then it can be really hard for most people to be like, yeah, but how? Right? So, yeah, I think surrender is important. And at the same thing, it's like, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Yes, intend on surrender, but the most important thing is to develop the skill of giving yourself compassion when you're not surrendering, because that's actually what's going to lead you into deeper surrender. If you're just like, I need to surrender, but then you're not, and you're making yourself wrong for that, that's actually going to keep you farther away from the surrender. But if you practice, how can I hold that unconditional love and compassion for all the waves of emotions, the discomfort, the fear, the resistance that comes up on the manifestation journey, that will naturally ease you into surrender.
Another thing that resonated with me when I was watching some of your YouTube channel was you were talking about manifesting a partner, and you were talking about how can you take your own breath away and bring romance into, do it to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like give yourself what you're looking for in somebody else. Can you talk a little bit about that? What did you embody, and how
Yeah.
did, like, what kind of feelings did you bring up within yourself to manifest your current
Yeah,
partner?
yeah, for sure. So I think that was kind of like it's what some people in manifestation, kind of call act as if, but I don't really like the term act as if. I like to call it as embody as is, right? So again, when I looked at, okay, what is the desire? The desire is partnership. Okay, why do I desire partnership? It's because I want to feel loved, I want to feel cared for, I want to feel breath taken away. Then the question becomes not how do I get this person, where do I find them, which app are they on, but it's how can I allow myself to feel love right now? How can I allow myself to feel cared for right now? How can I allow myself to have my own breath taken away? And I remember back then for me, it was during the pandemic lockdown. So the options were quite limited, right? It's like, okay, I either walk outside or I go to the grocery store. But one thing that, out of what was open in Montreal at that time, it was the market. And so I remember like every single weekend taking myself out on like this beautiful stroll along the canal that I live next to. It was like a lovely like river walk, and walking to the market and buying myself roses. Because I was like, oh my gosh, like these flowers are beautiful. And every single time I went, like my breath would be taken away just like with excitement of like, okay, which roses am I going to pick? Which flowers am I going to get? This is so fun. And I really practice, when I bought myself the roses and I felt myself receiving it, me to me, sinking into those sensations of like, whoa, like, thank you. Like, yes, this feels good. And it was actually really cool because I think back then by doing so, it actually gave my partner the guide when he met me. In like the first couple of weeks when we're dating, he would pick up on the cues of what I do for myself. And he would do it for me. It was really cool to witness, I remember. And even now, like sometimes he'll light candles and stuff because he knows like I'm obsessed with doing all these things for myself. Like I put roses and flowers and stuff everywhere. Like I light candles and stuff. And so I think it's really cool because not only are you allowing yourself to tap into the energy of what you desire right away, but you're also creating the standard for how that person gets to treat you when they come into your life, right? Because I feel like sometimes, we're kind of there and we're like, okay, well, like this person needs to show up and they have to buy me flowers or they have to do this and that. But it's like, are you actually modeling that? So it's really powerful because when we do it for ourselves, you feel it. You literally feel so full and complete because you're already feeling that love from you to you. And that then also helps you to let go of that attachment. I remember actually, it was funny because right before I met my partner, I'd actually had this very powerful moment of like complete detachment, if you will. I remember just like feeling so much life again in my life after a period of darkness, and having this moment where I just decided like I know what I want in a partner. I know what I desire, and I'm not going to settle for anything less. And I literally don't care how long it's going to take, whether it's like I said, a month, 3 months, 6 months, 3 years, 6 years. I'm like, I really don't care. because that's not my focus right now. My focus is like taking care of myself. My focus is on going on these cool walks. My focus is on discovering new passions and things that I want to do. And it was so wild because I think within 2, 3 days of me making that declaration was when my partner actually came into my life. So I always like it's hard to put into words because it was like this moment where I just felt it in my body. That was like a I genuinely don't care. And I'm not just saying that because I think it will get me the thing that I want, but like I genuinely don't care. It was like a whoa. And yeah, things shifted really quickly from that point.
I love that you said that you genuinely didn't care because one of my favorite quotes is from an author called Florence Scovel Shinn, and she talks about, or she's the author of The Game of Life and How to Play It. And one of my favorite quotes by her is, "Your ships sail in on I don't care sea." So as soon as you stop grasping, trying to force and fix and needing it to come in to feel okay, as soon as you just like let go and don't care as much, then it just flows right in.
Exactly. Yes. Your cat is also so cute. I can't.
He's so needy. Um, he is a baby. Could you share a book that changed your life?
Light is the New Black by Rebecca Campbell. That's the one I would recommend. Yeah, that book changed my life. Like,
Is Rebecca Campbell the one that has those tarot card things or the oracles?
yes, yes. Yes, that's her. Yes, she has Starseed Oracle, the Work Your Light Oracle, the Rose Oracle, which I highly recommend. Like if anybody needs an Oracle card deck recommendation, the Rose Oracle, my go-to. Yeah, Light is the New Black is her first book. It's the book that I read in 2017 that really changed my life. I remember reading that book from cover to cover probably within a day and a half or something like that, and going to one of my friends and saying like, "Oh my gosh, like you need to read this book. This book is so good." And she's like, "What is it about?" I'm like, "I can't even tell you." Because it was just like something got activated in my soul, like I felt it. I was like like I felt change, but it's like I can't even be like, oh yeah, this is a story about X, Y, and Z. I'm like, you just have to read it. Like I don't know how to explain it. And yeah, and all of her other books are really great too, like Rise Sister Rise. um Her latest one is called, what was it, the Star Seed, Starseed something. I forget what it was called. But yeah, like all of her books are really good, and they're written in a very digestible way. Her style is very poetic, so it's not like pages and pages of text. Some pages might be a poem, some pages might be like a short snippet from her life, and so the information I find gets absorbed a lot easier in that way.
Amazing. If you could leave people with one lesson or message that you learned along your spiritual journey thus far, what would that be?
It would be, you are already enough as you are. There is so much to love, honor, and be grateful for in this moment. Don't wait for yourself to become some future version of you before you decide to love yourself. Love yourself now, and you will become that future version of you.
Beautiful, perfect. Love that. Where can people find you online if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so I hang out on Instagram a lot. You can find me at PS I'm Ella, so PSIMELLA. It's funny because I realize a lot of people think that my name is Pissamilla or like Simella, but it's actually PS I'm Ella. I've had many people message me be like, "Hey, Simella." I'm like, "Oh God." So it's PS I'm Ella. You can find me on YouTube as well. I think I'm gonna play with the idea of putting more YouTube content. So that's also at PS I'm Ella. If you do like YouTube, I think it's like youtube.com/C for channel/PSMella. You'll find me there. You can always check out my website, psmella.com, or I also have a Facebook group called the Truth Alchemy Collective where I do free trainings and share content in there. So that's another cool spot to be in.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been amazing. I appreciate you so much.
Yay! Thank you for having me.